Previously on Airship Idiots, the crew decided that physics was more of a polite suggestion than a law. Their brilliant solution to a sinking airship? Throw barrels of alcohol overboard. Yes, nothing screams responsible adventurer like pouring a year's salary in booze into the abyss. Glitch. I'll just stab my harpoon into the back of the ship where the rudder is. Ah yes, the classic engineering method, stabbing things until they work. Shockingly, this didn't fix the steering. What it did fix was Nymeria's face into the nearest wall when the ship crashed against rock. To his credit, Glitch did eventually fix the steering with actual tools instead of blind violence. It only took a small crash, some grinding metal, and everyone questioning their life choices. The group debated their next heroic deed, rescuing Oswald, who had been harpooned straight out of the sky. One moment he was flapping about, feathers proud, and the next he was yanked into the mist by a tethered arrow, swallowed whole by the fog, like yesterday's leftovers. Vesper. So you're going to abandon the man who saved you? Grimes. I think we lost Oswald. Translation. Sucks to be him. Democracy ruled, with Tinker being the sway vote, and Operation Save Oswald was replaced with Operation Nap. Vesper sulked, Glitch grunted, Nymeria asked for a plan. And the plan? Sleep. Always sleep. Just when things couldn't get worse, pirates. And what did our geniuses do? Strap explosives to the engines and shoot themselves upward like a deranged firework. Nymeria. What the hell? Vesper, waking up mid-launch. What did you do? Grimes. There were pirates coming. We needed to get above them. Yes, Grimes. And surely nothing says above them like turning your ship into a suicide rocket. Glitch, ever the daredevil, had already leapt from the airship with a rope, flamethrower in hand, and promptly blew up the pirate ship's balloon in what can only be described as a skyborne nuclear accident. He was thrown back onto his own ship in a ta-da crash landing. Vespa. Do you think Oswald was on that ship? Grimes. Nah, pirate ship. Good to know that if Oswald had been on board, he'd have died with the comfort of Grimes's indifference. The crew, now without steering, drifted toward Aurora like drunk ducks. Cue dramatic crash landing. A desperate pre-crash warning to Marty allowed for the addition of crash nets, but there was still chaos. Half the crew face-planting. Vesper hitting 0 hit points like the drama queen he is, and Tinker crying over his destroyed ship. Vesper. Tinker, I'm so very sorry about your ship. A touching apology, especially considering Vesper was busy vomiting seconds earlier. At last, they stumbled into Aurora, a floating city of elves, masks, and overpriced cocktails. Their choice of tavern? The Drunken Griffin. Because nothing says classy adventuring party like walking through a griffin's open mouth into a cheap bar. Glitch. Entering into the bar with style. I need a room. Grimes. It would be cheaper if we share. Yes. Nothing builds camaraderie like listening to your companions snore after nearly exploding in mid-air. Grimes played fly on the wall at the tavern and picked up some cheerful local gossip. Apparently, Aurora isn't floating on magic anymore because the core went quiet. Translation. This city in the sky is basically running on a dying battery, and everyone's pretending it's fine. Nothing like booking a room in a place that might fall out of the clouds tomorrow. Vesper decided to paint the sunset like a tortured artist, while Nymeria asked the locals about rodent infestations. Because when you crash land into a magical city on the brink of collapse, what you really need to worry about is groundhogs. Nymeria, do you have any rodent problems? Yes, Nymeria, several. And they're sitting at your table. Later, Vesper channeled his inner art teacher, guiding Nymeria's hand with a paintbrush, like they were reenacting the pottery scene from Ghost, minus the pottery, the music, and any actual romance. Just a half-elf, trying way too hard to look poetic while explaining, "This is painting." And because nothing says bonding like food, he capped the lesson by buying her dinner, stew and water, the cheapest date-night combo this side of a tavern brawl. On the way back to the inn, Tinker stopped to pee on a tree, and when they finally drag him inside, the little gnome weighed as much as a full-grown ox. Vesper, straining under the deadweight, could only mutter, "Dear God, how can he be so heavy when he's so small?" Aurora has secrets abound, and the fate of Oswald is... who cares? He's probably fine. Stay tuned for the next thrilling episode of Airship Idiots.